Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris, and on today's video we're gonna do a fragrance ranking. So I'm a part of a lot of the little fragrance groups on Facebook, Instagram, and multiple other platforms, and one of them, or someone on one of those actual little groups, decided to post this image, and I was like, oh my god. It is so different from how I would rank these fragrances, and fragrance rankings are going to be different to absolutely anyone. It's all based on what you like, your preferences, your needs, your wants out of a fragrance, and because of that, everyone's is going to look completely different. But I did not agree with almost anything at all with this little list or this pyramid. So we're going to do our own fragrance ranking, and we're going to see where we rank our fragrances. So I've put together this little ranking tool, and it's kind of exciting. So we're going to go through each individual fragrance house and rank it from A to F. So on the chopping block is Byredo. Byredo is a brand that's never excited me. I think it was very, very much hyped up, and that's the reason I decided to buy some of their fragrances. Once I got Byredo fragrances, almost every time, and this is just my opinion, I was almost always disappointed with the smell. And just because of that, I know that they're very expensive, they're very up there in cost, and I know they're considered to be niche, but to me they're kind of in that gray area where they're kind of niche designer-ish, because niche means that they manufacture in small quantities or still small. They only serve a niche, which is those fragrance lovers, but they've become more mainstream, if anything, at this point. So just not for me. I really don't care for the brand, so we're going to put it in section F. The next one is Creed. Now, Creed is an iconic fragrance house. Aside from it being copied multiple times, this brand really has done a lot for the fragrance industry. They're one of the first ones to really play into using high quality ingredients, and because of that, we're going to put them in section A. The next one is Guerlain. Now, I'm going to focus on these brands, the designer ones. I don't know if you would consider Guerlain designer, but we're going to focus on the private labels or the private lines. So for them, it's going to be the Art de Martilla collection. And the reason I'm doing that is because they're obviously going up against more niche, more fragrance-driven brands, and we kind of have to give them a fighting shot at that. So Guerlain, I will say that they are very iconic, very up there in cost, but they use so many great ingredients, and the craftsmanship of almost all of their fragrances is top notch. So we're going to have to put them on section A as well. Givenchy has the La Collection Particulière. I have a total of 3 fragrances from them. Their oud ones are phenomenal. I don't know if I've smelled better ouds or better blended ouds ever. And they're kind of a brand or a line that really doesn't get talked about a lot, and they really should. Their ones in the transparent bottles, they're not bad fragrances, but both of the ones that I have ordered are just not for me. So there's that. So we're going to put it in section, let's go with B. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's go with B. So the next one is Nishane. Their packaging sucks. Their packaging's ugly. They're overhyped. They're very expensive. And I've smelled a few. I've not been impressed with them all that much, but they're not bad quality. So I'm not going to sit here and bash them and say that they're terrible quality. So we're going to put them in section, let's go with C. And the next one is Clive and Christian. And this brand, yes, is very expensive. It's very upscale. It's very premium. It's known for being a very niche brand, if you will. Technically, they kind of hit mainstream status at this point, but they're still kind of maintaining that small company type of vibe, if you know what I mean. So because of that, we're going to put it at the very top just because I know that they have great products. Amouage is the next one, and I have to say, I have tried a couple of their fragrances. Again, greatly blended, great quality, longevity is amazing. Some of their newer releases are kind of hokey pokey, generic, if you will, but for the most part, their staples are great quality. They're another one that's overhyped at this point, but not a bad brand at all. So it's going in section C. Bond number 9. This is a tricky one because I love some of the Bond number 9's fragrances. I love, for example, the Hamptons is a really good one. I love the original signature scent. Their sandalwood fragrance, their Arabian collection is really, really good as well. But there are some ones that just don't do it for me. And they haven't really kept up with packaging, in my opinion. But they're not bad when it comes to the actual juice. The quality of the actual fragrance is phenomenal. So because of that, we're going to put it in section B. Next one is Prada, and Prada has the Olfactory collection. The Olfactory collection is kind of one that no one talks about. I bought them actually whenever no one even had a review up on YouTube, and I love them, but for the price point that we're talking, they're kind of gardeny, and because I know people are gonna want, or most people when they spend this much money, they want a very expensive, premium, luxurious, deep scent. So they're very much going to be misunderstood. And because of that, we're going to put it in section C. Mugler has the Les Exceptions collection, and I have to say it is one of my favorite collections out of any of these designer private labels. Really, really great quality, really, really great juice, and a very innovative type of smells. I mean, I have not encountered anything else that smells like the ones that I've bought from this actual collection. So because of that, we're going to put it in section B. Christian Dior. Now they have the La Collection Prive. The La Collection Prive is phenomenal. They do have some that are kind of watered down versions of what they used to be. And they've discontinued a lot of their great ones like Cure Canage. They've discontinued Leather Oud. They've discontinued, what's the one that everyone talks about? The point is they've discontinued quite a bit of them, and they kind of have this revolving door with this actual label, which I don't really care for. So we're going to put it in section C. I love Dior, don't get me wrong. It's just they need to stop having a revolving door. Valentino. Now they have the Anatomy of Scent collection, which I have not gotten to try, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's great or it's bad. Based on Valentino's previous releases, which I know they have this cult following with their Born in Roma collection, not my cup of tea. I think they're very generic. I think they kind of smell like Spice Bomb, if you ask me, just my opinion. And because of that, we're going to put it in section D. Roja Parfums, another one that is very much overhyped, and it's not my cup of tea either. I mean, they have great quality products, sure, but a lot of it is hype, and because of that, we're going to put it in section D, or F, I'm sorry. The next one is Chanel, and I love Chanel. Their line is very expensive, and I get their bottles maybe a little bit boring to most people, but for the most part, they have contributed a lot into the actual fragrance industry. I mean, they were the first ones to use synthetic components in their fragrances with number 5, and the Les Exclusives collection, I mean, just cannot be matched by anyone when it comes to luxury. So because of that, we're going to put it in section A. Jo Malone. Now, Jo Malone started off strong, great brand, great fragrances, and then it was cannibalized by Estee Lauder. I mean, it's just gotten chopped up into pieces. Some other icons have been discontinued. They've come out with these like hokey pokey limited edition releases, and they're just pumping out fragrances left, right, and center, and nothing seems to stick anymore. And because of that, we're going to put it in section F. Ex Nihilo. Now, this fragrance brand is from Paris. I've gotten to smell a few of their fragrances, and each one that I've gotten to smell, I am incredibly impressed with. Very high quality. The packaging is not my favorite, but it's high quality as well. And yeah, we're just gonna have to put this one in section A because I think it's pretty up there when it comes to luxury status. Memo Paris. Now, I've gotten to smell I think like 2 of them. Both of them are great. The packaging's kind of generic to me, just saying. But the juice is good, which is what everyone wants, right? A good smelling juice. And because of that, we're gonna put it in section C. Parfums de Marly, we're going to put it in F just because I don't like the brand. I think that they charge you for they charge you a lot of money for designer scent. And I don't think that's fair to most of you guys. I know that you guys love them because designer fragrances are mass appealing, which Parfums de Marly fragrances are mass appealing. but they shouldn't be charging you the price that they do. And just because of that, they're going to go in section F. Diptyque, a very artsy brand. Love Diptyque. Love their candles most of all. And they're great quality as well. So we're going to put them in section number, let's go at D. Penhaligon's. Now, Penhaligon's is a hit or miss. They're a British brand. And they have some really great deeper scents. They also have some, I don't know, some of the ones that I've purchased, I've just not been a fan of. But for the most part, they do have great quality products. They are a great brand as well. And their packaging seems to be a little bit outdated in my opinion, but that's another story for another day. So we're going to put this one in section C. Kilian. Now, Kilian I would put in section B originally because they have great scents. I think that when it comes to smell, they're very unique. They know what they want and they really do deliver. But the problem with Kilian is every single one of their fragrances lacks in longevity. And although that's fine, not every fragrance formulation is going to be long wearing. And I think we all need to get that across. But for the price point that they are charging here, it's a little silly to say you're going to charge so much money for a 50 ml bottle and then expect people to want to keep purchasing your products whenever there's no longevity behind the actual product itself. So because of that, we're going to put this one, let's go with D. Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Aside from a couple of fragrances, I don't get this brand. I think that the citric fragrances in this range are kind of, there's no imagination, if you will. He's a great perfumer. He's done some really good fragrances for Dior thus far. He has a couple of really good ones under his umbrella as well. I think his brand has kind of gotten tainted with Baccarat Rouge 540 because the success was so big for that fragrance. It's kind of ruined and kind of cheapened his brand as well, which can happen when a brand goes from being so small, then being bought by LVMH, and then his fragrance brand being absolutely everywhere. I'm not going to say that that's a good or bad thing. I mean, you can take it as you will, but I do think that the entire brand doesn't have consistency when it comes to great quality. And because of that, we're going to put it in section letter D. Armani Prive. Now, they have three ranges within the Armani Prive line. They have the Les Eaux, which are going to be the transparent bottles. They're Eau de Toilette, I believe. Then they have the colored ones, which are the precious ones. And then they have the ones in the black bottles. Every series is very different. And Armani Prive, for the most part, has great quality. Even the Les Eaux, which are supposed to be lighter wearing, have great longevity and performance. I don't think they're talked about a lot. They used to be very popular, and then they kind of fell off the bandwagon when it comes to popularity as of lately. But I do still like them. I'm going to put them in section C. Acqua di Parma. Now, this is another one like Byredo that kind of floats between that niche type of quality with that designer type of feel, but it's also mainstream at the same time. You quite don't know where to place it, but they do have great fragrances. They have great quality. They actually hand make a lot of their things on their own. Yes, they're part of LVMH, but for the most part, they are autonomous, and I don't know a lot of brands that are like that anymore. So we're going to put this one in section, it's a hard one. Let's go with D. Bvlgari. Now, they have the Legends and they have the Allegra collection, which are going to be their upper price point fragrances. Both have great fragrances within those lines in themselves, but I think they're very overpriced for what they are. I mean, that's just me being honest with you. Yes, they're great products. Yes, they're great fragrances. But again, overpriced for what they are. And just because of that, we're going to put this one in section D. Tom Ford started off again strong. I don't know if this is, I think we're seeing a trend here with Estee Lauder, but started off really well, very strong, great fragrances, and then they got greedy and then just started releasing fragrances after fragrances after fragrances. They started moving fragrances from their private label to their signature label, and then back to their private label, and then back to their signature label. It seems like no one knows what they're doing over there anymore. And now that he's gone, I think the releases have gotten even more and more aggressive. So because of that, I'm going to put it in section F. Gucci has the Alchemist Garden collection, and they're under Coty, which, that itself is a whole different topic for another video, but Gucci is not my favorite brand, just as a fashion label, period. But I can get past that if they have a great scent. And they used to have great scents back in the day, but their Alchemist Garden collection seems like it's trying too hard to be vintage, in my opinion. Because of that, I'm going to put it in section F. Celine. This is one that a lot of people are kind of waking up to, which is good, but it's also a little bad because, you know, people are wearing what I like, which, if you're like me, you don't like people wearing what you like, but that's just me being picky and weird. The fragrance brand has great quality, great longevity, great performance. The juices are really good. I really do like this brand. I think the fragrances of this brand are very unique, very different, and they're very simple as well, which is, it's very hard to find that fine balance of uniqueness and also simplicity. So because of that, I'm going to put this in section B. Yves Saint Laurent has the Le Vestiaire collection. Most of the ones that I've purchased, I'm impressed with. Some of them I am not. I think that they're designer-ish, like mainstream type of fragrances with a little bit better quality. So I'm gonna have to say we're gonna put them in, let's go at D. Atelier Versace. There are some that are really good in this range, and there's some that are just bad or just boring, if I can be honest. So I don't know, we're gonna put this one in section D. Moncler. Now they have a luxury line at Moncler, and Moncler, all of the ones that I've smelled, which I think there's a total of 4 or 5, fantastic fragrances, fantastic smells. Their packaging has a little bit to be desired. I don't really like the bottles, but that's just a personal thing. Because of that, we're gonna put them in section D, or C, I'm sorry. Cartier. Now Cartier has amazing private fragrances, and they're very expensive. Their Oud and Santal fragrance is amazing. It's one of my favorites. I actually have one, and it's very meaningful to me. But they have a few other ones, and all of them are just incredible. I think Cartier as a brand is kind of slept on because they really do have amazing fragrances altogether, and the quality is just impeccable. When it comes to their juice, their packaging is very unique, very different, kind of quirky as well, but in a Cartier type of way. They are a jewelry manufacturer, so they have that quirk with them. So I'm gonna have to say, and I hope somebody's gonna get mad about this, we're gonna put them in section A because they're just kind of slept on. The next one is Hermes. They have the Hermes collection, which is their private label, and there's some that are really good in this range, and there's some that are really none of them are bad. I shouldn't say that, but just not really up to par to what I would think of a very expensive fragrance. Now, with that being said, they're actually eau de toilettes, and they're very long wearing. So when it comes to actual quality of the juice itself, they're even better than Chanel. But just because not all of them are up to my standards of what I want personally, we're gonna put them in section B. But if you do like the scents, they obviously could go in section A. So what do you think of this video? Do you agree with my selection? Do you not agree with my selection? A lot of these, again, are just my opinions, so take them as you will. If you agree with them, then you agree with them. If you don't, then you don't. We all have our own opinions when it comes to fragrances and what we like in actual perfumery. So don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more fragrance-related content. Until next time, you guys, take care.